Hey, hey everyone. So in this lab exercise, we're going to be completing lab exercise table rows in alternate colors, right? This is in week 3. So we're going to create style rows to color odd and even rows of a table in different colors. So to make it easier for a user to read the data in the table, you can upload a single CSS file, the CSS code, or a screenshot of your CSS for this lab exercise. And so just to give you an example of what we're going to do, so we have a table right on the VLE. It says headed from students no, participants 26, submitted 8, needs grading, and so forth, right? And you notice that for each odd number table, we have the gray background. So 1, 3, and 5 has a gray background, whereas the even numbers, 2 and 4, sorry, actually, yeah, 2 and 4 and 6 has an even number. Sorry, has a white background. All right, so we're gonna recreate a table like that. So I'm gonna be working in VS Code. Let me create a new HTML file. All right, we'll be working with inline style. So let me create my basic HTML structure. So first we need a doc type declaration. Then we're gonna create our root element, which is the HTML element. Right. We need a head because the style tags goes in between our head, and we need a body. Alright, because anything that shows up on a web page goes between the body. Sorry, so we have body. There we go. Great. So let me start by creating my style tags. Okay, inside of the body, opening and closing. I'm just going to include some comments, right, just to keep track of what we're doing. Remember, anytime we're writing CSS inside of our HTML document, it's called an inline CSS. Okay, great. So let's start by creating a table. Start by creating our table. So we have a table element. And also we want to look at our changes in real time, right? So let's right click and open with live server. So there we go. So we'll be able to see our changes in real time. You could use any examples that you want. I'm going to go with the classic movies, TV shows, and anime table headings, right? So I'm going to create my first table row. I'm going to create 3 table headings, okay? 3 table headings. One for movies. We're seeing that change reflect in real time. One for TV shows. We have a table heading of TV shows, and the other one for anime. Like I said, you can use any example that you like. All right, so this is my first table row. Let's create a minimum of 4. If you want to create more than 4, that's fine. But I'm going to create 4 table rows. Let's just call this row 1, and I'm going to comment this row by hitting Control and /. Let's create my second table row. Okay, so we have a table row, and let's insert the data that's relevant to our table heading. So my first table data is going to be a movie. I will go with Friday. My second table data is going to be TV show. I'll go with Narcos. Okay. And my third table data is going to be relevant to anime, and I'm going to go with Dragon Ball Z. Okay. So again, we want to create a third table row. Let me just make my fourth. Okay, so let me copy this table row. Let's change the data inside. So for movies, I'm gonna go with Jumping the Broom. For TV show, let's go with Shadow and Bone. Okay, great. For anime, let's go with 7 Deadly Sins. We just need one more table row. So our fourth table row. Okay, so we have our fourth table row. So in total we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 table rows, right? A table row with our 3 headings and 3 other table rows with our table data. Now, we want to go inside of our style tag. We're done with our HTML for the moment. So we're going to go inside of our style tag. I just want to add a bit of styling to my table headings and my table data, right? I want some spacing in between them. So I could target my TH and I could target my TD. Now we haven't discussed this in classes yet. If we want to have a CSS property and value on two different HTML elements, we could group them by separating them by commas, right? So instead of having padding on my TH and then setting a padding on my TD in separate CSS declarations, we could just combine them. So I want to set a padding right. I'm going to set this to 12 pixels. Okay, and that's going to add some padding onto the right of my TH and my TD. How about a little bit more? How about 16? Okay, yeah, that's good. So what I want to do next, I want to target my TH and I just want to make those elements a bit bigger. Alright, so I could say font size. I'm going to set the font size to 24 pixels. Okay, great. I also want to make my TD just a bit bigger. Not as big as the table heading, but just a bit bigger than we have right now. Okay, so I'm going to set this font size to, let's go with 18 pixels. Okay, nice. I also want to align my table headings to my left, right? So again, after every CSS declaration, you want to include that semicolon. So I'm going to set a text align property, and I'm going to say align the text to the left, and that's going to align my table headings onto my left. Okay, great. Actually, let's also add padding at the bottom. So we're going to say padding bottom, and that's also going to be 16 pixels. Okay, great. Nice. Let's start creating or alternating colors for our table rows. So there's a concept in CSS called CSS pseudo class, right? And pseudo classes, they allow you to create different behaviors or looks on an HTML element depending on if the state is true or not. So if you ever went on a search engine and once you clicked on a link, that link, and you go back, that link now turns from blue to purple, right? And that's something called a visited pseudo class. And if you go inside of the VLE, okay, go inside of the VLE, under week 3, you're going to see a PDF attached called CSS pseudo class. Okay, right here, CSS pseudo classes. And that's going to give you the different pseudo classes that we have in CSS. So the one I want to utilize is called it's called the nth child. Right? It's called nth child. Now, if we hover over, if we take a look at what our nth child means, okay, let's read up some documentation. So the nth child selected matches every element that is the nth child regardless of type of its parent. So n can be a number, it can be a keyword, or it can be a formula. So here's what that means. This parameter, that takes in a number, or it takes in a pattern, right? So if we take a look on the VLE and we see our table that we're trying to emulate, we see that every odd number has a different different background color. So every odd number, 1, 3, and 5, has a background color of gray. Okay, and we could just insert either even or odd inside of our parameter. So we could say for every even number, we want to set a background color. Oops, sorry. We want to set a background color of gray. I'm going to use the hex code. There we go. And if I wanted to say odd number, for every odd number, we want to set that background color. Okay, there we go. You could choose either one. You could go with odd or even, it's your choice. So what if I set it to a static number? What if I said 3? You're going to see that the third table is now applied that CSS property and value. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at even. And yeah, that would be lab exercise table rows in alternate colors.